Hey, you're listening to Stop the Scroll, a social media marketing podcast, and I'm your host, Heidi Schmidt. I'm a social media strategist and agency owner with over 15 years of marketing experiences helping businesses grow online. We'll be diving into what you need to know so that you can show up confidently online without the overwhelm. Get your notebook ready to jot down some amazing marketing gems, and let's dive into it. Welcome back to another episode of Stop the Scroll. Happy August. Is it August? I think this episode is live in August. Happy August. Can you believe that it's almost Q4? Like, where has the year gone? And how is it also almost the end of summer? I was recently at this business retreat and we were talking about how September, oftentimes a lot of people think of like restarts and refreshes in September because it's the start of the school year, all these things. As of today, the 30-day Instagram post challenge is live. I'm trying to do like a reel a day. I've been doing pretty well on TikTok the past couple of weeks. I'm going to share my results on that. And I've just kind of been like having fun on TikTok. Like, I'm not doing it for business. I'm just doing it for me, which is probably not the smartest idea with me as a political candidate, but I'm trying not to post anything too controversial. But I am pretty happy with the results, all things considered so far. So at the time of this recording, I've gained probably like 30 something followers maybe. And I've only been doing it for like a week. You know, normally when we think about Instagram, like, you know, a good month for me on Instagram, and this is on the low end, but like 30 new followers in a month, like that's what some of my clients get. And, you know, we celebrate organic growth. Like, let's just be clear. Like, we celebrate organic growth however that looks like. And I try not to pressure. Obviously, like, clients hire me because they want me to manage their social media presence. And I try not to pressure myself into posting every day, but I wanted to like challenge myself because I think I mentioned this in a recent episode. A client of mine did it for herself in the month of June, and she had amazing results. And her videos were short. It was a gratitude thing. She shared one bit of gratitude every single day, and her results were amazing. She did it outside of the work that I do for her. So like, we were posting like some days twice a day. There's nothing wrong with that. But on the contrary, you know, if you're not someone who can post once a day, and I kind of did this challenge because like between June and July, like my own posting, so between launching my masterclass, which is going super well, and my political campaign, like I just needed to take a breath. I had to take a breath. And I was recently looking and kind of planning my own content. I do not content batch for myself. I do idea batch. I will often batch captions for myself, but I do not batch my own content. Sometimes I will like batch record B-roll, but like I do not post every day. I do not typically, and I don't pressure my clients to post every day. You know, I talk about sustainable social media presence because especially when you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, someone who is still managing their own social media, or maybe you just haven't found the right team person to do it. It's a burden, man. And, you know, I looked at my calendar from a couple weeks ago, probably around the time that I'm actually recording this, because I record a couple weeks in advance. And I was like, oh, I didn't really post anything last week. Or at least I didn't schedule it through Loomly. Maybe I posted directly in the app. But like, I was like, oh. But, au contraire, my friends, I am still growing on Instagram. Like, I do not bank business success by the number of followers that you have. Because here's the thing, you can have 10,000 followers, you can have 3 million followers. I recently saw a story from someone that I recently met on a retreat about how she told a story about how this influencer had like 100,000 followers and tried to sell this product and only sold like 30. Now, if you have an audience that big, that's a really flippin' low conversion rate. Let's just be clear. The thing that really makes a difference, even when I'm not posting, is I am still engaging on Instagram. I am still connecting with my audience. I'm still engaging with like my client content or former clients or leads that I've been like working with. I am still engaging with their content. And therefore, engagement still creates that connection. It still shows the app that I am active, and therefore I still grow. So Instagram engagement matters. And I have said this before on the podcast that I do not love managing Instagram engagement for my clients. In fact, I actively try not to include that in my packages. I try not to include that in my client engagements unless they specifically ask for it, in which case, okay, we'll kind of manage it, but I don't like committing to that. And here's why I say that, because I feel like it takes away a certain level of authenticity. We know, and the things that I do manage for my clients is I am constantly managing, like monitoring comments. I am managing like when they get tagged in something or when, someone mentions them, whatever, so that we can reshare that to stories. Like I am kind of monitoring that unless I know that the client is actively monitoring that. And some of my clients are better at that than others. Engagement, we know, matters so much more than consistency when it comes to a lot of business accounts on the platform. Mainly because the algorithm, #powers that be, they build trust, they value trust, and it's that active engagement that builds that trust with your audience. It fuels that conversion, even in like the days that you don't post, and it builds those kind of warm social leads. So how do we, and I say that like, there is a myth of engagement. Like posting does not mean that you're present on the platform. And I see this a lot in some clients that I know outsource their social media. They're not engaged in the platform. They're just not. Like they post and then they ghost. And I even have some clients that do that like their contract, I do not do engagement for them, but I know that they're not necessarily engaging on the platform. So posting does not mean that you are present on the platform, even if you are scheduling something every single day. There have been weeks where like I post once or twice a week and I am still getting new followers. I'm still getting engagement. And you know why? Because maybe I'm posting to my stories once a day. Maybe I'm engaging with 5 to 10 accounts once a day. Like I'm still scrolling through once or twice a day on the app. So therefore I am still being engaged with my audience and my ideal audience who's there. Engagement is not optional when it comes to your Instagram strategy. It's not extra. You're not being extra by commenting, and when we talk about commenting, and I'll give, some tips for how to make engagement less overwhelming. It's not extra to be commenting on people that you don't follow, like people that you maybe like want to follow you. Like commenting on their content is not extra. It's not salesy. Like leave meaningful comments that bring them your way, right? So what does engagement actually look like in 2025, my friends? So we know that engagement is like all of the things, the likes, the comments, the DMs, the shares, those all contribute to your overall engagement. So when your audience interacts with your brand, it shows that they are engaged with your content. Your content is trustworthy, it's relatable, it's more likely to be lifted by the platform. The platform finds your content trustworthy when people engage with it. So how do we build that engagement? Well, one, I like to start with Instagram stories because we know that stories are always get a little bit more engagement than like regular posts. They're a fun way to like show that behind the scenes content. They're a fun way to like capture audience sentiment. So like using polls, using stickers, using quizzes, questions, all that kind of stuff. That's all engagement. Do not underestimate the power of Instagram story stickers. That's my tip. Tip number 1. It also allows you to just like have conversations. Like I love the Ask Me Anythings in Instagram, and they've never really performed great for me. Maybe my audience just isn't as engaged as I'd like them to be, but I totally lost my train of thought there. You know what? I lost my train of thought and we're just going to go with it. But Ask Me Anythings, those are fun ways. If you're traveling, like, hey, tell me the best place to go here. If you are like, if you have a product-based business, hey, what colors are you looking forward to fall? Like if you're retail, if you are a candidate, because I know that various political candidates are starting to listen to my podcast. I hope you're all getting something useful here. Find out what issues matter to people. It's a fun way to do some of that grassroots polling in the digital space. The bare minimum engagement, and this is tip number 2, is always reply to your comments and DMs. Reignite that conversation, deepen the trust with your audience, like be conversational. Social media is social because we're supposed to be social, right? Like, let's be social. So definitely respond. And, if you're trying to promote a lead magnet, you can download your 30-day reel challenge in my show notes. It is active. It is live. I'm pretty jazzed about it. Y'all can't see the video here, and this is a total sidebar because I know my editor loves my sidebars, but literally my cat is like perched on the back of my chair. Like, she might as well be perched on my shoulder. Like, I've got to take a picture of this here because this is ridiculous. Oftentimes, I will kick the cats out of my office while I'm recording, and this is like, I'm going to need to use the video because, again, part of the sidebar is I record my podcast in Descript. So I always record with a video in case I want to take like a little snippet of the video to share as a reel or share to YouTube or something like that. I may have to take this snippet of my cat perched on the back of my chair and share it because it's ridiculous. Like, anyhow. Back to Instagram engagement here. So how do we engage with our ideal audience who may not yet be following us? So one, you're going to use this search bar. You can search location. If you're looking for people who are local to you, you might look at your competitor audience and pop in to see who's commenting on their content and maybe go see what they're sharing, liking and sharing, all that kind of fun stuff. Really love engaging with ideal clients on their stories. Like, if you follow them, like, this is another tip. I've lost track of how many tips, but here's another one. Engage with your ideal clients / your audience via their stories. Don't wait for them to engage with your stories. Like, go, heart something that they posted, leave a comment. That's one of the most, I find, impactful ways to engage. Those have created some amazing, amazing conversations with my audience and people that I know. So don't underestimate the power of commenting, sharing content from maybe like other people in your niche. Like, sometimes I'll share content from like other social media scheduler, like content calendar management systems, other social media professionals. If they have amazing content, sometimes I'll share it and be like, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, those are the easy ways. And you can do those engagement tactics in as little as like 10 to 20, 30 minutes. Like, really, when people think about engagement, I feel like it feels overwhelming because you feel like you should be engaged for like an hour. Like, no. No, girl. You do not need to be engaged for an hour at a time on your Instagram app. I mean, if you want to scroll and engage with reels that way, like, that's on you, boo. I do not recommend that. I often, there are ways that you can create a mini routine. I actually just did this recently because I was like, I have not been engaged enough in the communities that I know I get leads in. I have not been engaged enough on my social media. So I literally blocked off 30 minutes on my calendar to promote my podcast on Tuesdays. Even though it comes out on Mondays, like, I usually publish it Mondays, but like Tuesdays, I need a half hour to draft my newsletter, to post it in a community membership that I'm a part of, the Leading Ladies Hub, and to post it to my own social media. So I need a half hour to do that. So I blocked off a half hour on my calendar every Tuesday. If you want to create a mini routine, pick a day that you do something, like, okay, Monday, I'm going to go comment on 5 Instagram stories. On Tuesday, I'm going to go find 5 new accounts to comment on. Like, choose a routine like that can start to build a habit, because sometimes like it seems overwhelming until you get in that habit of doing it. But once you kind of build that habit, we know that it takes 21-ish days to build a habit, right? But what matters more than just, building a habit is showing up intentionally. You don't have to post every day. You do not have to post a reel every day. If you want to join in on my 30-day challenge, I highly recommend it. It's going to be fun. But you need to show up intentionally for your audience. And this is where the community building really happens. This is the magic that I say that social media has. This is the reason why I've loved social media for the better part of 2 decades, is because it builds communities. I've mentioned this before. I've been on Facebook since 2004, and I largely joined because it was fun. Like, it was fun to like show off the shit that my friends and I were doing. And to like connect with classmates that I didn't necessarily live near or didn't know outside of class. Like, it was fun to like connect with people that way. It was fun as Facebook grew to like connect with my family who didn't have that .edu address that you needed when you first joined Facebook. But engagement nowadays, especially when it comes to social media for business, really helps build those relationships. And we know that people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. It is such an easy way to build connection with your audience and get them to convert. So, all that being said, I challenge you to join my 30-day Instagram challenge. All the information is on the landing page. It's linked in the show notes. If you love the podcast, if you love what you hear from me, I encourage you to subscribe, leave a review, share an episode. It helps me help more people just show up. You know, I'm not talking about necessarily like big growth numbers here on social media. I sometimes find those a little unrealistic and unsustainable. I'm talking about showing up authentically in a way that doesn't make you feel icky. Because I hear from a lot of my potential clients that like sometimes social media feels icky. And I don't want social media to feel icky. I want social media to be a tool in your marketing toolbox that you, like any other muscle you flex in your business, like social media is just another muscle that you flex to market yourself. I think I said this a couple weeks ago, but like, you know, if you post a reel and you're like, oh, it only got 100 views, like that's 100 people that saw your content, that saw you show up on social media with minimal effort. So reframe how you think about it. Go forth, create amazing content that stops the scroll and builds your community. Until next time, leave a review, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. Talk to you all next week.